Hey guys, coming back again with another review. This time we're talking about Metroid Dread. It's been 19 years since the last 2D release in the Metroid series, and this one was coming in with a lot of fanfare and marketing push from Nintendo. I came into this game completely devoid of any of Nintendo's marketing push. I only saw the initial reveal trailer and then immediately knew I was going to buy the game and play the game, so I avoided everything else that they put out regarding the game. With that out of the way, does this game live up to its predecessors and deserve to exist? Does it deserve to be a Metroid 2D release? Long story short, yes, it really does. A lot of people come into 2D games expecting a semi bland environment with standard side scrolling adventure. You don't get that here. The level of detail in the backgrounds and the characters that will move, or the enemies that move in the background, or the smoke rising, or the lava moving, or whatever. There's always something interesting going on that's not in the foreground. It's back behind and outside of Samus's view. Even you don't even, from what I can tell, she doesn't even see any of it. So you can sometimes see creatures that are going to show up later, stalking her. It's fantastic. Sound design and music has always personally been a strong point in the Metroid series, and the legacy does live on here. With headphones on this alien planet Samus finds herself on, it truly can feel like this planet is out to get her. It is a experience to have, and it was well worth taking out the headphones to actually listen to it that way. Now, we're coming up to the subject of the gameplay, and with Metroid, gameplay has always been the biggest factor, and it's incredible here. It just is. As with every game in the past, it is the absolute best part of this game. Playing this one, it just feels good to traverse the world. Throughout the environments, there are upgrades that are not required for the story in any way, that are hidden all over the place, just like in the other Metroid games. And finding them feels rewarding almost every single time. Once you get it, once you figure out how to get to it, it feels awesome. The gameplay can be hard. It is not an extremely forgiving game. However, the checkpoint and save system definitely gives you that little bit of leniency that you need. The newer mechanics brought into the game by Mercury Steam from their 3DS remake of Metroid 2 are welcome. When some enemies go to strike you, you get a visual cue, like a flashing light on them, that it's signaling for you to parry. If you push the button to parry at the right time, you can instantly knock that enemy back and fire, and that will remove the enemy immediately. And that can avoid the extended gun battle some of those types of enemies can require. Now, with this entry, I do believe that Metroid Dread is more story heavy than every other 2D game in the series. And that's not a bad thing. I was actually really excited to see more actual story development, and there's a good bit of it here. The story is serviceable, it keeps you interested, and it has some fun ideas. However, like I said, the gameplay is really where it's at with this. The story isn't what you come for, but it is worth following, in my opinion. Now, as far as flaws with Metroid Dread, there are a few. I am not personally the biggest fan of the EMI system, the EMMI system. I like the way that they have held it to certain areas and kept it so you enter a door and go into the EMI zone, and in that zone you can deal with the EMI, and then if you go back out, if you're able to escape, you don't have to deal with them outside of there. I like that rather than them being on the overworld map and just able to chase you anywhere. However, those zones can be extremely frustrating, and most of them will probably require a couple of attempts to get through. The game is definitely worth struggling through those, but I could see how they are punishing. The loading times in this are a little hard to get through. That may be more of an issue with the game being on the Nintendo Switch rather than the game itself. These games on the Switch are getting harder and harder to come back to after spending so much time on PC and this newer generation of systems. It just I recorded a small clip of one of the loading screens just to see, and it actually took over 30 seconds to load from one area to the other. It's not, the end of the world, obviously. The game is still worth playing, but it is frustrating to deal with. Now, other than those few things, I really did enjoy the game. While the bosses can be difficult and some areas like the Emmy zones frustrating, it in the end, it really, really feels good when you clear those challenges. This game feels almost like what the original developers of Metroid and Super Metroid wanted to make on those systems. I thought it was an incredible experience and recommend it to anybody who is a fan of Metroidvanias at all. It is well worth the cost of entry, and more than likely, it's not going to go on sale anytime soon, knowing Nintendo. So, with all of that said, which Metroid has been your favorite? Would it be one of the 2D releases or maybe one of the Prime games? Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.